Constructive notice. You have received this constructive notice if by mistake, fraud, error, legal construction, or fortuitous event, you or your particular church, sect, denomination, organization, institution, enterprise, government, or commercial franchise has ever handled or been the receiver of my unique manifest essence, DNA, or testament of my will or res, without my knowledge, or true full disclosure consent. Global profiteers have for decades colluded in a conspiracy to acquire custody of the equitable salvage of presumably discarded essential DNA material unbeknownst to the true owner in order to control all evidence pertaining to a legal cause of action. This illicit forensic I-Lave is administrated by so-called courts of justice using information upon a I-certificate of birthie, deed of interment, relative to a decedent kildy, afterbirth, regarded as prima facie evidence establishing original jurisdiction. Sadly, both my wife Deborah and myself have many times experienced the birth certificate IS way of slavery with the loss of legal custody over our unique essential makeup, DNA, and paid a high price in lost time via unlawful stops, jail, detainment, etc., financial losses via attorney fees, confiscated property, statutory charges, bail, etc., police brutality through physical violence, electric shock, taser, etc., or libel through a false or unauthorized manifesto, birthie announcement, or Winnebago County Jail image shoti posted for profit. This particular form of legalized terror, or what I refer to as I-forensic justice, can only occur if the unique manifest essence, DNA, of a man is allowed to be controlled totally and arbitrarily by another beyond himself, which is the definition of slavery. Black's Law 5th edition, End slave. A person who is wholly subject to the will of another, one who has no freedom of action, but whose person and services are wholly under the control of another. One who is under the power of a master, and who belongs to him, so that the master may sell and dispose of his person, of his industry, and of his labor, without his being able to do anything, have anything, or acquire anything, but what must belong to his master. Slavery. The condition of a slave, that civil relation in which one man has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. What unique essentially is the true mark of One's spiritual manifestation in both time and space. DNA. Wikipedia, deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA, is a molecule that encodes the genetic instructions used in the development and functioning of all known living organisms and many viruses. DNA is a nucleic acid. Alongside proteins and carbohydrates, nucleic acids compose the three major macromolecules essential for all known forms of life. Most DNA molecules are double-stranded helices, consisting of two long biopolymers made of simpler units called nucleotides. So each nucleotide is composed of a nucleobase, guanine, adenine, thymine, and cytosine, recorded using the letters G, A, T, and C, as well as a backbone made of alternating sugars, deoxyribose, and phosphate groups, related to phosphoric acid, with the nucleobases G, A, T, C, attached to the sugars. DNA is well suited for biological information storage, since the DNA backbone is resistant to cleavage, and the double-stranded structure provides the molecule with a built-in duplicate of the encoded information. The two strands of DNA run in opposite directions to each other, and are therefore antiparallel, one backbone being 3' and the other 5'. This refers to the direction the third and fifth carbon on the sugar molecule is facing. Attached to each sugar is one of four types of molecules called nucleobases, informally, bases. It is the sequence of these four nucleobases along the backbone that encodes genetic information. This information is read using the genetic code, which specifies the sequence of the amino acids within proteins. The code is read by copying stretches of DNA into the related nucleic acid RNA in a process called transcription. Why is absolute dominion over One's own unique manifest essence, DNA, important? Wikipedia, forensic ***, belonging to the Courts of Justice, Black's Law 5th edition, scientists can use DNA in blood, semen, skin, saliva or hair found at a crime scene to identify a matching DNA of an individual, such as a perpetrator. This process is formally termed DNA profiling, but may also be called genetic fingerprinting. In DNA profiling, the lengths of variable sections of repetitive DNA, such as short tandem repeats and minisatellites, are compared between people. This method is usually an extremely reliable technique for identifying a matching DNA. However, identification can be complicated if the scene is contaminated with DNA from several people. DNA profiling was developed in 1984 by British geneticist Sir Alec Jeffreys and first used in forensic science to convict Colin Pitchfork in the 1988 Enderby murders. The development of forensic science and the ability to now obtain genetic matching on minute samples of blood, skin, saliva or hair has led to a re-examination of a number of cases. Evidence can now be uncovered that was not scientifically possible at the time of the original examination. Combined with the removal of the double jeopardy law in some places, this can allow cases to be reopened where previous trials have failed to produce sufficient evidence to convince a jury. People charged with serious crimes may be required to provide a sample of DNA for matching purposes. The most obvious defense to DNA matches obtained forensically is to claim that cross-contamination of evidence has taken place. This has resulted in meticulous strict handling procedures with new cases of serious crime. DNA profiling is also used to identify victims of mass casualty incidents. As well as positively identifying bodies or body parts in serious accidents, DNA profiling is being successfully used to identify individual victims in mass war graves and matching to family members. The vast amount of information provided in the few paragraphs above would lead any prudent man to conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that actual forensic control of a manus imaki, or his unique manifest essence, DNA, by any other beyond himself, is to determine slavery legally acceptable, for no man would ever willingly agree to submit to such an obvious deprivation of rights, slavery, and loss of life, death, if he were indeed given full disclosure of the legal ramifications of the birth certificate, title, assumed to be his name for such sacrifice, is clearly an act of self-destruction, and suicidal in its very nature. I, myself, am no proponent of suicide. Black's Law 5th edition N. Suicide. Self-destruction, the deliberate termination of oneous existence. Attempted suicide is a crime in some jurisdictions, not in others. Some jurisdictions hold an attempted suicide, which kills an innocent bystander, or would-be rescuer, to be murder, Arthurus manslaughter, Arthurus no crime. Some jurisdictions hold it to be murder for one person to persuade or aid another to commit suicide. Some, by statute, make it manslaughter, or a separate crime. Interestingly, assisted suicide is a Class 2 felony in the state of Illinois, Illinois Criminal Code of 1961 Section 12 to 34.5, with similar laws in 46 other states. I, myself, think that if a man were to be coerced into representing a decedent Kildee instead of his actual living estate of Bangi, thus forcing him to trade or stake his unique manifest essence, DNA, his life upon a dead or fictitious entity, all those who willfully participated in such a heinous criminal act, such as hospital doctors, nurses, administrators, judges, attorneys, clerks, reporters, bailiffs, etc., should be charged as isostancy to a suicide and imposed with the maximum sentence allowable, or perhaps charged with criminal homicide or premeditated murder. To be clear, because of my lawful claim of absolute dominion over my estate, res, and unique manifest essence, DNA, any of my property held in trust, custody, or otherwise, in any form, style, location, or time frame, for any purpose whatsoever, by any man or person beyond myself, is contrary to my true will and testament, and must be returned to me directly within 10 business days delivery of this constructive notice, or all those who have ever handled or been the receiver of my estate, res. Or unique manifest essence, DNA, will be formally declared trespassers, thieves, or usurpers of the unique manifest essence of my life, DNA, and charged with slavery. In closing, let the bright shining light of truth revealed within this constructive notice be my final claim, stand, and judgment of absolute dominion now and forever, over my estate, res, and unique manifest essence, DNA. Sincerely,